Day one, first trip of the 2022 fishing season for here on another line. Got the first video coming to you guys in my new to me Chevy Silverado. Love this thing so far. I'm loving it. Going to go over and get my boat. I'm going to go out to Grayson, drag some slow baits around because I had a buddy that was out there yesterday, Nate Witt, told me the water temperature was 42 degrees. That's chilly. It's supposed to be 66 degrees today. Maybe we'll see that 50 degree water mark today and get to lean on our first bass of the 2022 fishing season. It's going to be a great time no matter what. Spending some time out on the water is better than sitting on the couch. It's President's Day here. I am off work due to being a holiday. So that is why I'm headed down through here to get my boat and go to Grayson Lake. I'm going to meet J.R. White out here in his boat. And we're going to spend some time on Grayson here trying to catch one and hopefully catch one that we can remember. So, not going to be driving and filming here much, but quick shout out to Tina's Tinting in Westwood, Kentucky for tinting my windows the other day. Misty paid for them to get tinted for my birthday, which is coming up very soon. So, without being driving and filming at the same time, I'm going to pick my boat up. I'm going to go out to Grayson. I'm going to go try to catch one. Stay tuned. We'll see if we can't make this thing happen. The very first time going out on 2022. I'm not super, optimistic. Pretty skeptical today, to be honest with you, especially the water temperature is 40-some degrees. Nate said he went out yesterday, fished most of the day, only had 2 bites. I'll take 2 bites. I like to catch fish. See if we can't kick the 2022 fishing season off right. Guys, appreciate you guys' support out there. I've had the biggest week I've ever had in my life as a YouTuber. 114 new subscribers. It wasn't a month. It was this past month, not a week. But the biggest month I've had so far, 114 subscribers this month, which is huge for me. I'm driving for that 4,000 subscriber goal. If you enjoy my content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. If you want to hit the notification bell to get posted or get notified when I post new content, by all means do that, but that's not totally necessary. Got a lot of stuff going on this year, just now getting started. Trip 1, 2022. Let's get it! Got my boat hooked up to my Chevy truck. Been a long time since I've been able to say that. Let's get after it, dude. I'm so pumped up. Probably not gonna catch nothing. Got the old Stratus ready. Hasn't been touched since New Year's Eve. But we're getting after it today. Getting ready to pull up out here at Grayson and going across the dam. We've had about 5 inches of rain in the last 2 weeks here. We had 2 inches of rain on Thursday. I'm not expecting the best water conditions, but I am hoping it's just not pure chocolate milk. And again, you guys are going to see it the same time I do. But it's going to be tough to show you through the tinted windows here because I got a little bit of a glare. Can't roll my windows down. Obviously, just have my windows tinted. So we're rolling up here. Let's get the camera around and see what we can see. So again, rolling into Grayson State Park here, getting ready to come over the dam. First look at Grayson Lake is always like a kid on Christmas for me. I either love it or hate it. It's usually super clear. It's not going to be super clear today, I can promise you that. But I hope the water is not pure chocolate milk. And actually the water, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to tell it from the camera, but it's not terrible. Kind of, I don't know, man. It looks pretty thick, to be honest with you. I wanted to fish Deer Creek back in there, but it looks awful thick down in here. I might go try to find a little bit of clear water discouraging. I was expecting it to be dingy, but it is freaking thick down here. It's so muddy, it's thick, which is expected. Again, we've had 5 inches of rain in the last few weeks, so it is going to be, as Kyle Malone said it back in the day, cold, muddy, tough. So hopefully I can get out here and catch one. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna be throwing some spring baits that I like to throw. Again, it's not quite spring yet. It's President's Day here, 2022. Jerk bait. I have a brand new Shimano World Minnow in the clown collar, which should be fairly good today. I'll be throwing it. As you guys know, I like the old Jackal re-range jerk bait. It's pure white. I love that thing. I think it's called Pearl. Not sure. Don't quote me on that, but I like it a lot. And I am going to be throwing a rattle trap, throwing a shaky, or I'm sorry, yeah, I'll think of it in a second. A chatterbait. That's it. I was looking for the word, couldn't find it. We are pulling up again, Fish Deer Creek here. There's a few people out here. I figured there would be. JR White truck right over there, his Volkswagen. So I'm gonna get the boat unstrapped and everything. Go out here, see if we can't lean on one for a minute. It's gonna be tough, but you know, hey, that's why they call it fishing and not catching. But back the boat in the water. Let's get after it. Preliminary water temperature, and again, my boat hasn't really acclimated, 39.8. Tilly, I'm sure it'll get higher than that. Yesterday it was 40, I think Nate said 43 when it was all over. But again, I'm gonna be throwing some spring baits. I'll show you guys what baits I'm gonna be throwing here. Obviously, you know I'm gonna have my handmade jigs. Pour with the Do It football jig mold. Usually my go-to is 3/4 ounce. Maybe might drop a 1/2 ounce on them, depends on what's going on. I'm going to probably start off with a Shimano World Minnow in the clown collar, the 110 size. I'm hoping I can get them fired up on a moving bait, but with the water temperature 40 degrees, it's gonna be tough. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it here in the morning. I'm going to go, it's not really morning, it's about 11 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's going to get to 65, 70 degrees this evening, starting about 1, 2 o'clock. So as the water warms up, I'm going to be throwing a lot more fast moving stuff. So stay tuned. 30, 40 degrees here. Got a few things up my sleeve here, but one of the first things I'm going to be throwing here is a brand new Shimano bait that just came out not too long ago. It's a Shimano World Minnow. Again, this is a jerk bait. I don't know if you guys can see it. Showed it on the live the other day. Let's get this thing out of the box. It has what they call flash boost technology, which is basically, it has a couple springs in there and it has a piece of foil that's in there, or it's like a piece of aluminum that continues to stay flashing while the bait is stopped, which I think personally is going to be an absolute game changer, just for the simple fact is that the bait doesn't have to be moving for it to continue to flash, which again, in my opinion, is going to be big time. I don't know if you guys can see that or not in there, but it actually just keeps hammering down. Let's turn the camera this way so you can take a look at it there. Hope you guys can see that. I'm going to be putting this thing on the old trusty 611 medium plus Poison Adrena, my absolute go-to jerkbait rod. You guys follow me, you guys know that it's my absolute favorite jerkbait rod. So first time I've had my rods out all year. It's going to take me a minute to get everything put together here, but water temperature seems to be warming up as I go back in Deer Creek here, so that is a good thing. I love having rod socks on all my rods. But I'm gonna have to invest in some bait keepers that keep the hooks away from things, because it never fails that when I come out to do some fishing, I got a hook in a rod sock. So what do you guys use out there? I know Cal Coast makes some. I like the way they look. I feel like they're a little large for what I need. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers at this point. Something that works and doesn't allow your hooks to get caught up is something I'm definitely going to need. Obviously, you guys know I'm a huge fan of the Jackal re-range. We'll keep this thing on my deck for a little bit. But usually I tie a loop knot, but for today's sake, we'll tie the old double San Diego jam knot. If you tie a loop knot, it'll actually give your bait more action. But seeing as how it's 40 degrees, I don't think action is the best thing I'm looking for. So I'm thinking this thing setting still is going to be the biggest thing for today. Wind's blowing a little bit. You can tell that pushed me away from the bank. Wow. I don't know what kind of hooks that are on that Shimano bait, but it is absolutely sharp. You end up with 3 tag ends with the old double San Diego jam knot. Make sure you pull all 3 of them very tight. Clip them close. So there it is, the Shimano World Minnow in clown collar. Again, the Jackal re-range 110 is not going to go far at all. It'll be here on the deck so I can change if I need to. That's bait number 1. Bait number 2 is going to be a Fritside 5 crankbait. I'm not exactly sure the collar is, but it's a red crawl pattern. Gotta know you're gonna throw the old fire crawl, and then for right now I'm just gonna dig in here and get my jig rod out. Blue and black jig here. Do it 3/4 ounce mold, poured myself. It's gonna be what we start with. See what happens. Swing and a miss. Could have been a piece of that tree, but man, it felt good. That ain't good. The old jackhammer hung up. It's never the one you want to get hung up. Lucky on that one, fellas. This is a really good spawning area for fish, and this bank right here is really steep. So you guys have heard me talk about it time and time again about finding staging areas, and I feel like we're way too early for a spawn. Obviously, it's April here. I ain't gonna, actually, it's February, not April. So we're gonna be a couple months out from a spawn, but I feel like if we're gonna find any fish staging to come up in this big flat and spawn, it's gonna be on these steep banks. I'm throwing a 3/4 ounce jig that I poured, again, using a do-it mold. Got a black and blue skirt I picked up from Jan's Netcraft. Got a little JB's fish sauce pincher garlic. Throwing this on a 7.5 heavy Zodius with a Chronarch MGL. Oh man, I just got smoked right there. That is a good sign. Tater. Threw it right up in that stump or those trees. You guys can't see it. It's out of frame now. The wind's blowing me out. But as soon as I come over that tree, I just absolutely got smoked. I don't know how big it was. Probably a small fish, but throwing a 3/4 ounce jig. But the water seems to be a little warmer up in here. It's about 2 degrees warmer as I go back. I'm hoping that the farther I go back, it gets warmer and warmer. But I'm fishing some cover, rocks and things. Rocks are going to hold more heat than anything. Again, it's supposed to be 66 to 67 degrees today at some point. I wanted to throw some moving baits this morning. I've thrown a jerk bait. I've thrown, a frit side. Thrown a fire crawl jackhammer. But I feel like the water's still a little too cold to make that happen. So I'm going to pitch this jig around these stumps and stuff. And then I'm just going to go back in the very back of this creek and try to fish some rocks, some riprap that's back in there. And then I'm gonna make a decision what's gonna happen, whether I go back out on the main lake, try to find some fish there, go up into Bruin Creek. I'm not gonna stick in this creek all day unless I start catching them. You guys can see this tree here now that I'm fishing. It's kind of the same way up in here. We get hung up a lot fishing this kind of stuff, but when you pour your own baits, it's not near as hard on the wallet if you lose one. So that's why I don't care to throw it up into some just nasty stuff. Right now I'm fishing about 18 foot of water. You can see that I'm like 10 feet, 12 feet off the bank, and I'm in 18 foot of water. So this is just a sheer drop off right here. I'm hoping that I can find some staging again when it comes around this point. There's just a big flat. I think I'm probably early for that, but I got to build a pattern somehow, so that's where we're going to start. The old plug knocker, man, comes through once again, saves a $20 jerk bait. I hope the wind's not too bad here, but apparently fishing the Fido hole. Anyway, got the windscreen on the mic, so hopefully it's not too bad for you guys. Going up in here, farther up into Deer Creek here, to try to fish some riprap. It's about 10 feet of water. The wind is really picking up, which I figured was going to be the case. Anytime you get warm days like this, when it comes to January, February, even into the first part of March here, it's liable to get just absolute ornery with the wind. So that's why I'm going to go up in here. There's a little windbreak on this riprap. So far I've thrown a Spro, I've thrown a frit side, I've thrown a jackhammer, the World Minnow, I've thrown 2 different collar jigs, green pumpkin and a black and blue, both 3/4 ounce. Water temperature is gradually warming up, not only as the day goes on, but also as I get farther in this creek. Warmer, it's about 42, 43 degrees right now. That's not only due to the warmer sun beating down on it, but it's getting shallower back in here. That's where we're getting higher water temperatures. I'm gonna go back here and fish this riprap. It's gonna hold more heat than anything. Another thing that you have to take into consideration, you guys can see the water clarity here. It's got maybe 1.5 foot visibility, but it's real dingy. It's kind of almost tannic looking, but that's sediment in the water. And when you have a lot of sediment in the water like this, it's going to raise the water temperature up higher quicker, because again, there's more stuff in the water for that sun, the UV light, to bounce off from and get warmer faster. So we are about an hour into the trip. Again, I knew it was going to be slow. You can see I'm up here in Deer Creek. The water clarity is actually getting worse as I go back up in here, which I figured that was going to happen. It's a super long idle back in here. If you're fishing a tournament or whatever, you really have to decide whether you want to, you know, come back in here and stick it out all day, or come in here the last hour of the tournament and just come back in here. It's one of my favorite places to fish. Caught about a 4.5, close to a 5-pounder out of here about, I guess it's been about 3 years ago now. So I'm gonna go back in here. I really don't look for them to be back in here in this creek this far, but the water temperature again is a lot warmer back in here, so I'm gonna come back in here and try it anyway. I'm gonna throw a jig around here. I may pick up like a Boom Boom Plus, like an underspin, something like that, throw around these rocks. I think I'm moving baits too fast. Again, water temperature is 40 degrees. I'm fishing it like it's, you know, mid-April, which is always a downfall, especially the very first time I'm out. But we're gonna go back up here, see if I can show it to you here. You can see that riprap all along there. That's where I'm hitting. There's a culvert right back in here that you can't see, but we're gonna go back in and give it a shot. Again, water temperature is warming up a little bit back through here. We're gonna fish all that riprap up in there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it goes way back in there. It's really chunk rock, not you know, it's boulders and stuff, which is gonna hold a lot more. It's gonna hold a lot more heat. So anyway, hour down, 0 fish. That's okay. We're gonna fish this rocks here, and if we don't catch any fish, going back out on the main lake. Going to hit some main lake points, some secondary points, maybe hit some pockets. Go up the lake a little further, see if we can find some clearer water, or maybe just a hair warmer water. I'd love to see this water get into the 50s today, but it's going to have to hurry if it does. The wind, I think this wind is going to hurt me. It's going to cause the water temperature to stay a lot lower, because, you know, this wind is constantly going across it. We'll have to see when we get up in there. Till then, let's pitch a jig around a rock. Pretty cool little phenomenon happening right there. You got some clear water coming in from that culvert, turning that into a really nice, clear little pool there. Usually a pretty good place to fish, but it seems like nothing's home. I'll fish the rest of this bank, get the heck out of Deer Creek. One bait change later. Not a keeper, boys and girls. That is number one. Got the old, picked up the Ned rig, threw it up in that clear water, and got me one, boys. You're throwing a little Ned crawl. He ain't a keeper, man, but that's number one for 22, baby. Yeah! Let's get after some more. Guys, just got that fish there a second ago. This is on the new Do It Molds weedless Midwest finesse jig head. Again, on a little small TRD Ned crawl. These are absolutely going to be amazing this year, guys. That's about the 6th fish I've caught on these jigs. Amazing. Coolest thing about this thing is weedless. You can throw this thing wherever you want. Throw this up in the rocks, caught a fish. Let's try to catch another one. dumb. Should never do that, ladies and gents. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do what I just did right there, trying to boat flip a fish, small or not. 8-pound test tournament, that thing would have been gone. That's all right, baby. That's 2. Look how white that thing is. That is awesome. Ned rig pulling through. I got 1 of those things. Borrowed it off Brandon Buckner earlier when we fished that tournament on New Year's Eve. So that's the way it goes. Tell you what, one of the most helpful things for you to do, especially coming out here in the spring, I keep calling it spring, but it's definitely winter time. If you have lakes around your house that have, you know, lower pool levels like we do here, these are flood control lakes. I'm going to show you this road bed that goes right through here that you would never know was here if you weren't, you know, here when the water's down. So let's take a look at this. So you can see that road bed right there, that you can see the blacktop chunking away all the way down through there. Notice it's coming farther and farther out in the water. That thing goes right out in there. I guarantee you in the summertime, that right there is probably a phenomenal place to hit. There's some stumps and stuff up that way. Just a big, might be a phenomenal spawning flat here, definitely too. So it's definitely something I'm gonna mark on my graph. Again, road bed here, pretty cool stuff, but you can't see that unless you're actually down here in Winter Pool. All right, guys, it's time to head home here. It's about, I guess about 20 after 4. It's gonna start getting dark here soon, and it's gonna start getting chilly. Decent day here on the water in Grayson. I'll take it any day. If you can catch a couple fish here in Grayson, especially February 21st, President's Day, I am all about it. Again, you guys heard me talk about it a few minutes ago, but the player today that I caught 2 fish on was a Do-It, or it's actually a head that I poured with a Do-It mold. It's called the Weedless Midwest Finesse Jig, basically a Ned rig, but it's a weedless one that they've just come out with that runs a Victory hook. Check this dude out. A beaver right there is probably a little chilly, I'd say, if I were to guess. I don't know where he came from, but he gotta be cold. But anyway, caught a couple fish, I'm not mad at it. I'm gonna put my boat on the trailer, wipe it down, because it is absolutely filthy dirty out here. Clear water was definitely down in Deer Creek. I'm way up I'm not super far up the lake, but I'm in between Bruin and Clifty, and the water is way more dirty and dingy up this way. Deer Creek was more than double as clear, and that beaver just came up right here by the boat, scared the crap out of me. But anyway, it's more than double as clear down there as it is here, and I'm sure that was a big factor. Found the 2 fish on the rocks, and I'm sure that was because it was holding heat, as I figured it would be. But again, guys, putting the boat on a trailer. Appreciate you guys sticking around for this episode of Honor the Line. Appreciate all the support I've been getting for this channel over the last month. Again, I had the most, you know, I guess successful month I've ever had as far as subscribers. Last time I checked when I was coming out here, it was 114 subscribers, I think, for the month. And that is amazing. So thank you guys out there. If you guys are just now joining and just now subscribing, I appreciate it more than you guys know. If you guys are going to be down the Bassmaster Classic here in 2 weeks, holler at me. Let's get together, maybe have dinner, lunch, something, whatever. I'll see you at the expo. I'll be there. I won't be working any booths, thankfully. Just be buzzing around, checking out some of the stuff and see who's going to be the next Bassmaster Classic champion. Still pulling for my boy Matt Robertson, so hopefully he can pull it off. Maybe we can see him absolutely go crazy on stage, because he is a nut. You guys know that. Anyway, if you guys can, get out there and lean on him. We'll see you next time on Another Line.